ring true with many in the media.
There's too much of that, perhaps, except over and over again, what editors find is that when reporters write about the issues, partly because the stories tend to be rather dull, they're not filled with conflict and drama, people don't read them, and editors understand that. We try to do, all of us, try to do stories on the issue, but the fact is that the horse race seems to be what people are interested in.
And the reason it was on horse race was you had 6 Republicans and 7 Democrats trying to get public attention. And that, you know, the media focuses on what the people are interested in.
And Stephen Hess, who's written on the press and campaigns, argues that Dole himself was an issue.
Question, if a guy can't run a presidential campaign, can he run the United States government?
Most reporters flatly deny that their own political biases show in their stories. But as one 50-year veteran of the news business cracked, objectivity is when the Pope gives the devil equal time. Actually, most reporters are happiest when both the Pope and the devil complain about their stories, without regard to who wears which label at any given time. John Aubuchon, Washington.
And joining us now is a man who combines expertise in both politics and the media, the contributing political editor for New York Magazine, Joe Klein. Joe, you were with Bob Dole during his ill-fated campaign this last time around, and you say you're a little surprised at his complaints about the media.
Startled and kind of disappointed. I thought the relationship on the plane between the press and the candidate was really wonderful. Dole would come back and chat. Reporters really kind of liked Dole, and I think that we gave him the benefit of the doubt on more than one occasion.
Then why do you think he's taking to the podium now, denouncing the liberal biased media as being a part of the reason his campaign was unsuccessful?
Well, you have to figure that Bob Dole is pretty disappointed. He ran one of the worst campaigns in our lifetime. He had a real chance of becoming president, and he squandered it. It was a disorganized campaign, and there really wasn't a message beyond the fact that he was from the soil, from Kansas, from a poor family, and therefore should be elected. He would often say, you know, in effect, elect me, I'm electable. That's the reason why you should do it.
What about his overall contention that the media is liberally biased? Do you buy that?
I don't think so. I think it was probably true maybe 10 or 15 years ago, especially during the Vietnam era. But the media is populated by baby boomers who have grown older and buying houses and having families and reflecting the conservative times, just as was just in their report.
Recently, we remember Jesse Helms trying to get people to buy CBS so that they could take the news out of the liberal hands of those that run that organization. It is a popularly held belief by conservatives that the news media is controlled by liberals.
And it's a popular belief by leftists that news media are controlled by the corporate elite. I think that people on the margins, on the far left and far right in the society, are always going to complain about the media. But television in particular, I think, plays it right down the middle. Often you'll find cases where a local newspaper will have it in for a local candidate or a national candidate, just as the New York Post had it in for Walter Mondale in '84, or the Manchester Union Leader had it in for George Bush this year. But I think that's fairly rare in television. I've never seen it, actually.
Overall, professionally, reporters as a breed, if you can cite a poll that says they've admitted that they have Democratic tendencies, party affiliation-wise, are they successful all the time at keeping their own personal politics out of their profession of reporting the news?
Well, I'd love to be able to say yes, but we're human beings. And, you know, I think that more often it's a personal bias rather than a political bias. People tend to be more fair to politicians they like, personally. And the irony is that this year, the 2 finalists, Mike Dukakis and George Bush, are politicians whom the media doesn't like, or at least not as much as some of the other people who are running this year.
I know I may be handing you a gun with a bullet in it, but are print reporters more conscientious than television reporters? The television reporters seem to get most of the criticism.
Oh, print reporters absolutely more conscientious. I think television reporters are by and large very fair, and especially the networks. They're scrupulous.
Okay. Joe Klein from New York Magazine, thank you very much for coming by and sharing your views on this important subject with us. Up next on the Health Beat, school daze. That's D-A-Z-E, the devastating effects of drugs and alcohol on the student body.
This museum is where they began their summer vacation. Everything was planned. Everything was perfect. Everything except this. Hey! right here in the U.S. So don't carry cash. Carry American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without.
It's here.
Traffic 2, over.
A sleek new example of design leadership. A sophisticated sports sedan with true feel-of-the-road handling. Its name, Ford Tempo GLS. The new Ford Tempo GLS. A more sophisticated way to express your driving ambition.
Now get a $500 cash bonus from Ford on manual transmission Tempo.
You know, frankly, I would like to punch you right in the mouth.
Ooh, that sounds hot. Let's go.
Fighting words.
I think we should be married.
On the next Hill Street Blues. It's Rock'em Sock'em action.
For God's sake, they got my dough.
As the Blues fight toe-to-toe.
It's you that turned me in. And people say you're stupid.
Get a ringside seat for one of television's main events, Hill Street Blues.
Tomorrow at 8 on Channel 11.
Think about a second mortgage home equity loan. At Champion, mortgages are our only business, and nobody does it better. We offer low fixed rates for qualified homeowners. Whatever your mortgage needs, regardless of your credit background, Champion works hard to get you results, and fast, usually within a few days. Call today and apply by phone in just a matter of minutes, or ask for our free brochure. And remember, when your bank says no, Champion says yes.
The issue of acid rain remains a challenge for us. Le problème des pluies acides demeure entier. This, as you said in Quebec City, Mr. President, is a problem that belongs to both of us. We must continue, and we shall, to work together for an equitable solution to this important challenge.
USA Tonight's Health Beat, brought to you by Advil.
Finger painting and milk and cookies may be the staples of kindergarten classes now, but if some educators get their way, lessons about the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse will soon be part of the curriculum. The idea is part of a plan being pushed because of an alarming increase in substance abuse among youngsters. Mary Jo Brooks has more in tonight's Health Beat report.
The statistics are alarming. 3.3 million teens have used drugs within the past month. 100,000 10 and 11-year-olds say they get drunk at least once a week. Those figures from the National Council on Alcoholism, a private nonprofit organization. In fact, drugs and alcohol have become the #1 problem in our schools.
It is like an insidious cancer that once it takes hold is almost certain to spread, and if left unchecked, threatens the very lives and future livelihood of its victims.
The association says the only way to cure the situation is for schools to take a much more active role. The first step is to survey students anonymously to discover the scope of the problem. Classes should be implemented for all grades, K through 12, to prevent substance abuse. And schools should have a trained drug counselor to confront kids who may have a drug or alcohol problem so they can be referred to clinics for counseling. Students themselves, however, aren't sure that it will make a difference.
Because I don't think most of the teachers know what students are selling drugs and stuff.
No, the teachers can't do nothing because if they selling drugs or anything like that or using them, they got their mindset on to do it. And can't nobody change that.
The only thing they should do is just have police standing around watching the children at the play. We'll be outside playing.
One program that's found tremendous success at a school here in Washington involves peer counseling. Teachers say it's worked so well they hope to expand it citywide. Nevertheless, the Association of School Boards emphasizes that no program can succeed without reinforcement from home and community. In Washington, I'm Mary Jo Brooks.
Some promising, albeit incomplete, news about a possible AIDS vaccine. A French scientist who injected himself with an experimental AIDS vaccine 17 months ago is showing signs that he may have protection from the virus. Blood tests on Daniel Zaguri show that he has developed antibodies and immune cells capable of resisting infection and neutralizing the AIDS virus. However, it's unlikely that Mr. Zaguri will take the ultimate test and expose himself to AIDS contamination.
USA Tonight's Health Beat, brought to you by Advil.
A 34-year-old man should not get a terrible headache from putting a toy together.
I used to take aspirin or Tylenol, but today I take Advil. You see, my doctor told me to try Advil. He said it contains the same medicine as in the prescription brand Motrin. Just one Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin. Advil gets rid of my headaches, and it's gentler to my stomach than aspirin. Advil, tablets and caplets. Advanced medicine for pain.
You've never seen a shaver like this before. It's the new 3M surgical clipper by Remington. Hospitals are now using it, replacing blades to shave patients for surgery safely and comfortably. And you can benefit from this advanced technology by using the Remington Microscreen Rechargeable. It shaves as close as a blade or your money back. This convenient charger stand keeps it continually charged. And the Lady Remington Rechargeable also shaves without a cord. Advanced shaving technology from Remington.
You've just been caught knocking off the Kellogg's Cracklin' Oat Bran. What's the most intelligent way to respond?
Did you eat all the Cracklin' Oat Bran?
Define the word eat.
Did you eat all the Cracklin' Oat Bran?
Yo, Mom, your shoelace.
Did you eat...
Yeah.
With the crunchy sweet taste of Kellogg's Cracklin' Oat Bran, an open box is an empty box.
From the crime scene tonight, 2 extraordinary shootouts in New York City. The first beginning when a woman drove through a red light in Harlem. 2 police officers gave chase, and for some reason, one of the officers fired at the woman's car. At that point, 16 to 18 more police officers began pursuing the woman as she led them on a winding, high-speed chase. When police finally boxed her in, 31-year-old Lydia Ferraro got out of the car, and one officer yelled, "Watch out, she's reaching for it." Then 5 officers fired 13 shots. She didn't survive the hail of gunfire. The woman had no weapons on her, it turns out, and the officer who fired the first shots is suspended. Not far from this crime scene, another shooting involving a woman and New York City police, but this time when the smoke cleared, it was the cop who lay dead. Frank Casey has details.
The deadly shootout took place in the pregnant woman's apartment in the Inwood section of Upper Manhattan, an area known for its high crime and heavy drug dealing.
According to police, about 15 minutes before 1 o'clock this afternoon, undercover narcotics cops were executing a search warrant at apartment 9B in this building when shots rang out. At about the same time, students from a nearby elementary school were being let out for lunch.
When I heard 2 shots coming, I started running back. And then I saw this lady with handcuffed with a shot right there.
She was pregnant also.
She was pregnant also.
We heard the cops say, everybody get on the sidewalk, right? Then we seen bring somebody down that was shot.
The wounded man shot in the face turned out to be the police sergeant. He was rushed to Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center in this white Chevrolet, his blood smeared on the door. A half hour later, the officer died. At a news conference, Commissioner Benjamin Ward detailed events leading up to the pregnant woman, Mercedes Perez, allegedly killing the officer with a .38 revolver moments after police, armed with a search warrant, broke down the front door of her apartment.
Police officers entering and on bulletproof vests with large letters saying police on the front. One woman entered the bedroom, closed the door, and fired 2 or 3 shots through the door, one of which hit a police sergeant in the face.
Police returned fire, hitting the pregnant woman in the stomach and arm. Police say the other woman in the apartment, 36-year-old Maritza Batista, was arrested without a struggle. In the apartment, police found plastic bags of white powder believed to be 2 kilos of cocaine, scales, and a pit bull tied up in the kitchen. The pregnant woman who allegedly killed the police officer was also brought here to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, and in a bizarre twist to this whole tragedy, a short time after arriving at the hospital, the woman gave birth to a baby girl. According to sources, blood donated in vain by police officers to save the life of a fellow police officer was used instead to save the life of the accused cop killer during childbirth.
You know, I love babies, and I don't love cop shooters, so I don't blame the baby.
Police Commissioner Benjamin Ward put it this way. He said all the people who kill police officers should be executed and let God sort them out. I'm Frank Casey, reporting.
No matter what kind of plans you have for your money, the government has some plans of its own. They're called taxes. Now, taxes may be inevitable, but the Wall Street Journal contends that they're also controllable. So the Journal keeps a close watch on the tax scene. Legislation, court rulings, new strategies, developments that might be important come April 15th. Then, in articles and regular columns, the journal helps you use these developments to greatest advantage. So if you'd like to manage your taxes as intelligently as you manage your career, subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. After all, it's your money. At least for the time being.
Call 800-445-4400 for this great journal subscription offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-445-4400 now for the Wall Street Journal.
On February 29, 1988, New York City hosted a 50th birthday party for this hero. Name him. Superman, Mickey Mantle, Joe Namath, Bill Cosby. Call Winners, the 24-hour telephone trivia game for fun and prizes. 1-900-999-9000. Choose sports, music, events of the 80s, TV and movies. Win gift certificates from your local Sam Goody. Win a compact disc player. Win a luxury cruise to the Caribbean or Mexican Riviera. Play now. 1-900-999-9000. 95 cents per minute, toll free. Superman.
USA Tonight, brought to you by the Remington Micro Screen Shaver.
The gray market. If you shop in a big city, you may know how it works. Brand name goods sold by discount stores at discount prices, often far less than the big department stores. Are these less expensive goods a good deal, or is there a catch? Well, Barry Cunningham tells us the answers are not always black and white when it comes to the gray market, and the Supreme Court is now being asked to help clarify things.
The case of Kmart versus Cartier is a classic consumer battle, pitting bargain basements against trendy upscale boutiques. It's a multi-billion-dollar battle over so-called gray market goods, luxury import items which U.S. Customs allows to be sold in discount stores without the approval of the trademark owners. Here's how it works. Small business importers buy popular products overseas on the open market at the lower world price. The independents then pay to ship the products back to the U.S., pay customs duties, and still sell them to discount chains for much less than the manufacturer's own exclusive dealer price. Stephen Kurtzman, representing independent importers, gives one example.
Here we have a very popular French fragrance, opium toilet water, manufactured by Yves Saint Laurent in France, purchased again last week in a high-priced store for $47.50 in this version, and for $42.75 in the discount catalog.
The discounters say they can offer price breaks up to 40% as long as U.S. law allows parallel imports of brand-name items like perfumes, watches, cameras, and electronic gear. In Supreme Court arguments, Cartier and some 60 other companies that own trademarks say they're being cheated.
What the gray marketeer is doing is in essence a very sophisticated form of stealing. I mean, goods are cheaper in a sense if you sell them off the back of the van, and they're stolen goods.
The trademark owners say their prices are higher because they pay for brand-name advertising, promotions, and warranties, while the discounters get a free ride.
They pretend that these goods are the very same goods that are sold under the trademarks generally in the United States. And it deceives consumers, and it deceives them to their detriment. They think they're spending their money for the very same product, and that's not what they get.
Same package, same bottle, same perfume.
The discounters say it's the same product, all right, but that foreign firms set up exclusive U.S. importers to keep prices sky high.
They want to charge more here than in the rest of the world for the same product, simply on the theory that we're a richer country and we can afford it.
This case won't actually be decided until sometime next year, but already the legal battle has shifted to a political battle. Both sides have gotten bills introduced in Congress, one to stop gray market goods, the other to reopen the U.S. borders to lower priced foreign imports. At the Supreme Court, this is Barry Cunningham.
And finally tonight, what would an 11-year-old orangutan do if, for the first time in her life, she was able to walk out of her zoo enclosure free as a bird? Well, in the case of Bonnie the ape, she joined some humans for a picnic of fried chicken and soda pop and never seemed to want to go anywhere else. Bonnie lives at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., and when she noticed the electric wire, which normally encourages her to stay put, was out of order, she and her infant baby moseyed down to the first group of people they saw and helped themselves to the food. The family was delighted with the company. Despite the chicken, though, or perhaps because of the chicken, about 45 minutes later, zookeepers were able to lure them back home with bananas. Thanks for being with us. Good night.